Finally, let's hear what Bill has to say.
Do you think there's ever going to be a time when any sort of politician grows some fucking balls and the general population gets their fucking heads out of their asses and they stop rooting for Republicans and Democrats and realize that these fucking stupid ass, spineless fucking politicians who only give a fuck about whatever golden parachute they're going to get from the corporate cunt that's fucking paying them to push whatever agenda they have through the fucking machine? Oh, I'm on a rant here.
Notice, Oren, thank you for the 5 gifted.
You know, somebody just told me why LA has like the most expensive fucking real estate. I guess we just surpassed San Francisco. Somehow a city with no fucking water supply is global warming is every fucking is going to destroy this place. For some reason, nobody I know can afford a fucking house out here anymore. And they finally just said there's corporation groups out here that are just buying up houses for cash to then turn around and rent them. So basically, they'll outbid any normal fucking person out here. So essentially, the last part of the American dream, being able to own a house, is going to go away. And these politicians are just going to sit back and let them fucking do it, because the same fucking corporation that's buying up all of those houses is going to fucking line the pockets of these fucking piece of shit politicians. They're all fucking scumbags, every fucking one of them. Unless, you know how you realize a politician isn't a scumbag? He's immediately branded a socialist or a communist if he wants to do anything for the people. If he wants to fucking, take on the bankers and have them be fucking accountable. If he wants to do anything on that fucking, this guy's a fucking socialist. And all you fucking mouth-breathing morons believe it. You know what I really enjoy? Actually, the fact that they shit on communism and they act like capitalism is working. Like capitalism works. That we are so fucking broke. It doesn't even, like, every August, no one pays attention to it. All of the politicians just sit around going like, is this it? Is this the end of the country? And at the last second, they go, print more money. Right? And then everything, why is it like fucking $9.50 for one slice of bread? I'll tell you why. It's because that guy doesn't have on the right colored tie.
One day I'll have him on the broadcast.
Let's get back to Bread and Circus. We'll talk about how well the...
Yeah, if I had more of a German accent, like I would be Bill Burr. This would be identical, virtually indistinguishable from a regular old HasanAbi broadcast take, dude. Holy fuck.
Boston Bruins are playing.
Except for this part.
I just can't fucking believe it, man.
Bruins.
I just cannot fucking believe. I went out here. I got this fucking setup out here in my garage. Everything's all fucking set up. And you just think like, okay, I'm good. Nope, you're not good. You're not fucking good. You know what? You're never going to be good. It's never going to fucking work. This fucking thing has worked 20% of the fucking time since I've had it. And then for some reason, I have a charger for the fucking, the hard drive fucking part of it, but I have one for the keyboard, but not for the mouse. It's the same fucking cord. So now I got to go out and go buy another fucking cord, right? So I can fucking plug that fucking thing and make sure everything's all fucking charged up. And then you know what happens? The fucking power goes out. The whole thing gets wiped clean. And then I got to sit around. I got to fucking start all over again with this thing. Fuck this thing. Fuck all of this. Unfucking believable. Unbelievable. Yeah, so that's what they're doing now. Corporations are buying up houses.
Down to the technical difficulties, bro. Come on.
Are buying up houses so the regular Joe can't buy a fucking house. And guess what? Republicans don't care. Democrats don't care. Nobody fucking cares. None of them give a fuck. All they want is their house in Martha's Vineyard or their fucking aquifers in the South America. That's all they give a fuck about. They're in it for themselves. We had some fucking rich cunt out here running for fucking office. And everybody thought that he was going to be the savior. People are so dumb. It's like the guy's a real estate developer. He spends $100 million of his own money to get a job that pays $250,000 a year. And everybody, it's because he likes LA that much. Jesus, wake the fuck up. He's spending $100 million so he can give his own company $4 billion in real estate jobs.
Oh my God, dude, Bill Burr to the left of motherfucking Cenk Uyghur. Okay, new uncle, Uncle Burr, new uncle, dude. I found a new uncle. That's it. That's my guy.
Well, those jobs are going to create out.
Hasan, that's you in 15 years. How dare you? Okay, I am not balding. Fuck you. Okay. I have taken the initiative not to bald like him.
Jobs.
Oh, Jesus Christ. No, they're going to grossly underpay you, and then the corporation itself is going to go out and buy houses and outbid you in cash. So how do you fight back against it? You know what? Don't sell your house to a corporation. How about that? How about you do one for the regular guy? And you take the offer from the hardworking. You're not going to do it. Because that's how capitalism works. Fuck everybody else below me. I'm getting mine. That's how it fucking works. And it doesn't fucking work. Communism doesn't. None of them work. None of them work because all forms of government are run by human beings. And we're all fucking flawed. That's what it is. And you know who you can blame? You can blame God for that. Because that's how he makes people. He takes each and every one of us out of the oven too early, and then we come down here.
This is what happens when you're like 98% of the way there. You're 98% of the way there, but like you haven't done enough. Not to be like an elitist about reading, but you're like 98% of the way there, and then you fall into the anarchist trap. Okay? Like, that's it.
Here, and we're all fucked up, and we just do.
But not even anarchists, because anarchists.
I think
also
he just
have
sits back and
like childlike, a childlike understanding of how society could run.
Fucking enjoys it. All right. So fuck every religion and all your dumb songs to this invisible guy who didn't make you right to begin with. That's how fucked up you are. You're actually singing songs to somebody who did a bad job on you. This is how far I take it. This is how far I take my little podcast studio not running, not working the way that I want it to work. And maybe if I took fucking 10 minutes and slowed down my scatterbrain, I could actually learn how it worked. And I could maybe, charge my mouse and fucking figure it out, and not have this psycho echo on my voice and I don't even know what. Why doesn't it interest me? I have absolutely no interest in any of that shit. Laptops, iPhones, all of this shit. But all of the world runs on them, so I have to interact with them. And I'll tell you this, dude. If I see that fucking robot going down the street one more time, I just, I literally watched this old guy having to slow down and speed up his gait. This homeless guy trying to get around this robot as the robot was trying to negotiate the fucking uneven sidewalks. And he's already subservient to the thing. He's treating it like it's a person. And well, hey, I don't want to bump into this. This is somebody else's property and blah, 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 blah. And when you look at those two things, that other person actually has empathy, unlike that fucking toaster rolling down the fucking street. But the toaster doesn't want to be part of a union and doesn't want weekends and holidays off. So that fucking nice guy he's going to become extinct. That's what's going to happen. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll just enjoy, these rich cunts. It's just, I don't know. Another thing too is I had a really good friend of mine die. I got to give a shout out to Diana Linden, who was, remember if I ever talked about how I had this Jedi masseuse? She got rid of my sciatic nerve problems. My back was all twisted, my shoulders are up, rotator cuff, frozen shoulder, all of that. She got rid of all of that. The quality of life that I got.
Okay, bro, down to the fucking PT aspect, I'm losing it, dude. He's just down to having random fucking injuries and and constantly complaining about it. Have you ever talked to Bill Burr? No, I've never met Bill Burr. I've never talked to Bill Burr. I love Bill Burr. You guys know I love Bill Burr. He is my fave. He is just like me for real in many respects. I have tried. I've tried to like at him. I've tried to DM, not DM him, but I've tried to add him. To know, you know, it's just not happening. I've got my management to like try and get him on. The only way that it would ever happen if he has to go on like a press tour or something, and then we catch him. You know what I mean? No, Ethan never helped with that, but I don't want to press him on that anyway.
Because she was an absolute Jedi, next level masseuse who just did everything for everybody else, and, you know, always put everybody before herself. She just was an amazing person, and she passed away yesterday at the ripe old age of 75. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, like, your masseuse was 75, strong like bull. Oh, my God, her fucking elbow. She'd have me coming up off the table because, I mean, I literally came in there maybe having gotten 5 half-ass massages in my life. I came in with like almost half a century of problems, and she gradually undid all of them. Most of which that if I went to a doctor, they would have operated on my back or my.
Okay, I mean after that, it's like the clip is done. The rest of it is okay. We did it. Here's why I don't like watching clips like that from Bill Burr. Okay? Because I fucking love him. And because of how much I have for him, we try to ask, by the way, we asked conservatives at CPAC what woke means. Very exciting stuff. Can't wait to see what they had to say about this. But because I love him so much, when, it's an inevitable reminder that, like, I'm just never going to have him on the show. Like, it's just never going to happen. And I really, really, really want to.
If you've been paying attention to politics really at all in the last few years, you know that Republicans are obsessed with a certain word.
Wokeness is a virus more dangerous than any pandemic, hands down.
Most of us know that woke is...
Who's your dream guest for the show? Literally Bill Burr. I've said this before. Bill Burr is my dream guest for the show. Bill Burr is my dream guest for the podcast. He's my dream guest for the show. There is no one else. No, more than Trump. Literally more than Trump, more than Bull Burnham, which is very more, infinitely more likely. More than Bernie Sanders, more than Dua Lipa, more than AOC, more than Noam Chomsky. A lot of these people that we're talking about are also like more likely to happen. Pedro Pascal, more than Pedro Pascal. Yes, he is the number one. Bill Burr is the literal number one fucking person I would love to have on my stream or on my show that I would love to talk to.
Is a term created by Black Americans, and it basically means being aware of what's going on around you.
Hasan, comedian stand-up arc. I don't think you know this, but like I've been a fan of comedy from the jump. As a matter of fact, if anything, it's like one of my main distinguishing factors in comparison to the rest of the left, or not the rest of the left, but like a big chunk of the left, is that like this is a pro joking is allowed leftist broadcast, which never happens. It's usually that and I'm not talking about like, you know, the Adam Friedland show, the most notorious center left podcast, because those guys are comedians, right? They're comedians already. They're comedians first. But there are not a lot of places that you can go to if you're a leftist where people talk this much about social justice, this much about like genuine issues that also allow humor to exist.
Especially when it comes to issues of race and social justice. But last week, some of the most committed ultra MAGA supporters got together for CPAC, the annual conservative conference, where definitions of this term were murky.
I think the woke today are basically the ones who buy into the mainstream dominant narrative of that everything's a identity-oriented, virtue signaling position to have a different position of power. That whole narrative, I think that's, people who genuinely believe that are basically brainwashed.
Wokery is part of the Marxist agenda, along with ESG, along with the 1619 movement and BLM.
What do you think woke means?
I think that it's an attack on regular family values that have been consistently themed in the United States.
Yeah, this is the closest you get to fascist rhetoric. This guy's not smart enough to be like, oh yeah, it's just bad. It's when it's all the bad things. He's just so straight up said, traditional family values is an attack on traditional family values. Yeah, dude, that's why all the woke people are trying to fucking forcibly separate trans children from their fucking parents. You know what I mean? Or that's why all the woke people are literally, that's why all the woke people like Ben Shapiro are advocating that the government come in and subject you to the foster care system, like kidnap you and put you in the fucking foster care system if you don't have enough money to feed your child.
States for hundreds of years.
I'm a mom, and so for me, woke is probably a little bit different than just the huge general population. I think more about my children and schools that they're in, and children are now coming home and thinking that they have to accept things that maybe we didn't teach in our family or in our home. So everything it's just being disruptive.
Even if nobody is 100% consistent in how they define it, one thing you are sure to get here is a steady stream of over-the-top invective about it from the stage. In fact, anti-wokeness seems to be the glue that is holding an otherwise fractious GOP together at the moment. And the thing is, GOP anti-wokeness is really just new packaging for an old idea. We used to call it the culture war, and its main tenet seems to be that diversity is bad.
We will teach our values and promote our history and our traditions to our children. We will, in other words, be proud of our country again.
And at CPAC, it's easy to think that, quote, the war on woke is America's main issue. But out in the real world, most Republicans think that their leadership isn't focusing on what matters most, the economy. It's not clear if anti-wokeness is the winning strategy that some Republican officials think it is.
When I see the state of politics right now and kind of what's on the ballot for 2024, topics like woke is just a complete distractor from actual issues. Homelessness is up. People are out of.
Yeah, my man. Bro, look at that. That's that right there. You know what that is? That's an old school conservative. He's like, yeah. We know this is not the best thing to talk about. So I think it's time to fucking. It's not the best thing to talk about. I think it's time to just make sure that we hammer on the issues that we care about, like deregulation. Deregulation, baby. You know, tort reform or whatever the fuck.
Jobs. People are struggling to pay the bills. Gas prices are up. Those are the issues that I care about. I feel it's very disingenuous to say that the most important issue is whether or not we're putting transgender bathrooms. Republicans were running this idea for like the past, 3-4 election cycles. Look how that turned out.
GOP voters are hungry for an electoral win, and at least some of the elected officials we ran into at CPAC are more keen to talk about what they're up to in Congress.
I gave my speech about the border, I gave my speech about the oversight agenda, and about the work that we have to do to make sure that our government isn't weaponized. So I tried to give a really substantive policy speech about those matters.
Okay. We're focused on reducing crime. We're focused on reducing inflation. We believe we have inflation because Washington spent too much money, but the big priority is trying to get the border secure.
And that's more important than wokeness, you probably think.
Well, yeah, absolutely. We're concerned about reducing inflation. We're concerned about reducing crime, which would mean securing the border, and we're concerned about the government being involved in trying to change the way people think.
Just how anti-woke a candidate should be is something that will be tested in the upcoming primaries. But the person who is making a pretty successful attempt at honing in on the, quote, woke mind virus, his words, not ours, is someone who wasn't even at CPAC, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. DeSantis has made anti-wokeness his political brand by signing the Don't Say Gay bill, banning CRT in Florida classrooms, and going after Disney. And starting this month, Florida is expected to pass a bunch more measures, like banning the use of preferred pronouns in K-12 schools and scrapping gender studies and diversity programs in state universities. This is what turning anti-woke words into actual anti-diversity policy looks like. And it might set up DeSantis nicely to tangle with former President Donald Trump.
DeSantis is coming out of the pulpit of an actual governor right now. And by him taking that stance against the woke as the CEO of a state, it's actually a pretty bold move. So he's not sidelined like Trump is now, talking as a private citizen. He's making that a stance of the executive branch of government for the state of Florida. It's pretty bold.
I'm
Michael Learmonth, editor-in-chief of Vice News. Too often, traditional news outlets shy away from the real stories and experiences of those living through global conflicts. Not Vice News. Our reporters are on the ground, fearlessly covering the human stories that shape our world.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my fucking Lord, dude. I love that shit. Oh, I wanted to watch A Week in the Life of a U.S. President by Wendover, which is pretty cool. There's like a bunch of videos that I posted up on my John Oliver for after. Let's do this one.
Our main stories.
I love when people go, "Yo, let's act like the elected representative is a fucking CEO." Like, that's like a CEO. It's like, bro, you just chose the least accountable motherfucker. You know what I mean? American conservatives are so brain broken, so insanely idiotic that they quite literally point to a guy who is like a group of individuals who are like most famously villainized because they are villains in society as like the right people. It's so dumb, bro. You are literally pointing to a fascist leader. You're basically saying, I want a king. Because in many respects, there is no difference between a king and a CEO. Inside of the corporation, there is no difference between a king and a CEO. As long as the CEO is doing things that benefit the shareholders, he is the most powerful person. He is not accountable. He is not elected. Okay? There is no democratic process to decide who the CEO is. And the American government is quite similar to that. Okay? It's just the board and the CEO is responsible, the politicians are responsible for their corporate benefactors, the wealthy. That's it. Like, ultimately, a corporation is authoritarian. There is no democracy inside of a corporation. That's like kind of at the heart of like what anarcho-syndicalists advocate against when they say they want to make a workplace democracy, right? Corporation is fascist. You don't choose your boss. Your boss tells you what the fuck to do, and that's how it works. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my fucking Lord, dude. Welfare is bad because this fucking banger convinced me. I didn't realize until this very moment that like working is actually significantly more important than welfare. Fuck welfare. It's not a way of life. We should cut welfare and fund more of this.
Have dignity and pride.
Yeah, you should be. I love that. I love when the government tells me that I should be embarrassed of my current.
It ended, but for what it began.
Yeah, one of the worst scumbags of all time, which, by the way, unrelated to what we're talking about here, welfare reform, his welfare reform is dog shit. People often give Bill Clinton just so many passes. It's pretty wild when you think about it on today's terms, like how awful of a fucking scumbag he was. And I'm not even talking about this is before we even get to Jeffrey Epstein. You know what I mean? Like, this motherfucker is the reason why. I mean, Glass-Steagall was repealed, dude. That's it. What else do you want? Like, just such a fucking gigantic scumlord, dude. Absolute fucking demon. It's just wild to think that, like, if you're on hard times, like, the government gets to control so much of your life. one of the grossest things you hear all the time, which is like a remnant of this already like crippled welfare policy and welfare structure, is when people say like, oh, they got an EBT card and they're buying alcohol. It's like, dude, who the fuck are you? Like, what are you, the fucking morality police? Like, what is this? Like, what kind of attitude is that? Like, what? If someone is on fucking SNAP benefits, like, they can't fucking purchase shit that they want, like normal shit? It's so insane. How about you mind your own fucking business, dude? No hot food signs for EBT in New York City. Yeah. Oh, they're buying steak. Makes me so mad. You can't buy alcohol in EBT, former EBT user. No, it doesn't matter. They're using their own money to buy the alcohol, which is fucking annoying regardless. Like, that's what I'm saying. Do you not understand? Like, you're using your own money to buy the fucking alcohol, and motherfuckers are still chirping. But the principle behind it is what is really frustrating, which is that, like, if you're poor, like, you have to eat gruel and, like, beg on your hands and knees, you know what I mean? Like, for my lordship to defend you. Like, it blows my mind. Like, how is that in any way, shape, or form acceptable? It's so fucked up. Iowa bill, it's a huge list. Iowa GOP would ban people on food stamps from buying fresh meat and more. Wait, when is this from? January 20th. What the fuck? Oh, I was on EBT for a long time and it absolutely saved my life and gave me the ability to pay rent and sustain for the time being. I remember a supervisor I had at my job would always complain every single person that came through the line with an EBT card and bought something she deemed was too fancy